So I was planning to make this video a couple months ago, but 2017 has started off with a boom in terms of video games, so I've had to delay this video, but now it's time to do it. Everybody has games that are close to their hearts, and I wanted to share those that are close to mine. So here are my top 10 favorite video games of all time. Now, The Walking Dead from Telltale isn't a fantastic game in terms of graphics or gameplay, especially gameplay since it's a point and click, but goddamn does it have one of the best narratives in modern gaming. My first time playing this game left my heart broken, but with Telltale's style of choices and fantastic storytelling, I keep coming back to experience the story of Lee and Clementine over and over again. Back to when the series wasn't releasing a game a year, Assassin's Creed 2 shook the action-adventure genre to the core with its fantastic combat and stealth, great revenge plot, and the open cities that make up Renaissance Italy. Along with those, the game also gave us one of the greatest characters in video game history in the assassin Ezio, whose charisma and badassery helped keep players invested in the story. Crystal Dynamics did Tomb Raider justice when it rebooted the series in 2013. In fact, they actually did a lot more than that. This combat system is well done and worthy of the Tomb Raider series. The characters are worth caring about, and a young Lara Croft who hadn't quite become the famous badass yet, along with tombs that stand out way better than any tomb the series has ever done before. This made Tomb Raider in 2013 a must play and still stands to this day as one of my favorite action adventure games. While the main story may not be the greatest in the world, that's not the main attraction in Shadow of Mordor. The Nemesis system still is to this day one of the most innovative systems conceived in video games in the past decade. The fact that everything you do in the world matters to how the hierarchy of orcs changes in time is an amazing factor, and makes tracking down the orc captains and warlords addicting as all hell. It also helps that the game mixes Batman Arkham and Assassin's Creed combat to make each encounter extremely enjoyable. You can also control orcs. Who doesn't want to do that? One of the best shooters of all time, Modern Warfare is my favorite Call of Duty, and for good reason. It has one of the better shooter campaigns out there. Its multiplayer is simple and well made as well, with hours and hours I spend into that multiplayer. There's also the Mile High Club on veteran difficulty, which is one of the hardest challenges in all of video game history in my opinion. Say what you will about the current state of the Call of Duty franchise, the original Modern Warfare remains a peak for the series, and there's no wonder why that is. Mass Effect 2 stands as one of the best sci-fi games I have ever played. With the whole galaxy to explore with some of the best companions I have ever had the pleasure of getting to know in a game, Mass Effect 2 is the game that made BioWare one of my favorite developers today. It had a great mysterious enemy to fight, a way better combat system than the previous game, a large number of things to do throughout the whole galaxy, and some of the best DLC ever released in a video game, especially the Shadow Broker, which remains one of my favorite pieces of DLC of all time. Also known as the game that will make you cry within the first 10 minutes, The Last of Us is a great example of a modern masterpiece. The story is so good and well written that it's hard not to become invested in it. The combat may be difficult, but fits so well in the post apocalyptic setting of the game. The characters of Joel and Ellie may be the greatest pair of characters ever put in a video game as well. They are so well written and performed expertly that you come to care about them as much as any real life person. That's what makes The Last of Us so damn special, in my opinion. I'm not the biggest horror fan, but Dead Space is one of those exceptions for me. From a very eerie setting of an infested spaceship, the game gives a very unique way of gunplay as well as a very unique way of killing enemies, having the players aim to cut off the limbs of the enemies instead of the usual just shoot them anywhere on the body. Along with the plot twist and sneaky foreshadowing that the game employs, Dead Space is my favorite horror game of all time. Since my YouTube channel is named after this series, you must assume that one of the games from the Arkham series would make the list. Arkham Asylum set a high standard for me in what could be a fantastic game, and honestly, Arkham City broke those standards. With a remarkable story with numerous twists along the way, it had great combat and stealth, amazing boss fights, and some of the best side quests I've ever played in an open world game. Since its release in 2011, Arkham City has remained one of my favorite games and one I cherish today. Before I reveal number one, here are games that just didn't quite make it. It took me a while to get into Dark Souls the first time around. However, once I got used to the game, it took me by storm. I fell in love with it. Yes, it's a difficult game, but it adds to that feeling you get when you overcome that obstacle or very strong boss, that feeling of victory that you get. It's also great that the world you explore in the game is filled with enough content and deep, interesting lore that makes even some other RPGs seem like they don't have enough content or backstory. Dark Souls is the one game that I can come back to at any time and play it. Yes, I get mad at the game, but I still love it all the same due to the beauty of how the game challenges you to fight and explore. That's why I love Dark Souls, and that's why it's my favorite game of all time.